I'm Maylou from Plants by Lulu and welcome on my channel. Today I'm going to show you my most spooky plants. If you haven't already, please subscribe and let's go! So the first spooky plant I have is a cactus. I am not sure which one. I will leave it somewhere here. But it is this one. And I don't know if you can see. But this one really has very small white speckles. It almost looks like an insect infestation or something. Like mites. But it's part of the cactus. I know a lot of people don't like this one because of the dots. From afar, the white dots with the grayish color of the cactus, looks like he's very bluish gray. And so he really fits in well with this pot. The only thing is he's a little bit sunken into it, so I may have to repot him into a longer plastic pot. Or I hope he will grow so it looks a little bit more in proportion. I also really like this pot. I have a lot of favorite pots, but this is one of my favorite pots. And I don't know if I could... It's the Tersteeg collection. And I think Tersteeg you can find in every garden center in the Netherlands, I think. I just saw this one once and just thought, oh, it fits well into my decor. Every season they come out with kind of new pots and new decorations on the pots with new colors. So I think last year there were a lot of whites and orange and pinks. That was this year. The next spooky plant is my Hoya ficii. And if you look at it like this, it looks not that spooky. But when you look up close, I don't know if you can see it, but I think the veins, it has some spookiness. And I don't think it's a virus or something, but for example, I don't know if you can see it, but this leaf is more grayish than this leaf. So some parts of the plant, in some leaves, there are grayish spots. Also in this leaf there's a grayish spot. It's not so much variegation as it is just a gray kind of spot. Here you also have it. It reminds me of the footage where they say you can see a ghost, and it always shows a vague spot, and that reminds me of this plant because in some leaves he has kind of the vague grayish spots. So yeah, he reminds me of that footage, and so that's the spookiness of this one. So the next spooky plant is my Euphorbia aeruginosa. I think when you look at it like this, it just looks like a desert cactus or something like that. But when you see him up close, I hope you can see the color. It kind of looks, maybe you have to look at it from this angle. It kind of looks like tentacles to me. Maybe a little bit like coral-y, but from the side he really looks like tentacles. And the spikes themselves, I don't know if you can see them. The spikes themselves look a bit, I find, a bit alien-like. I think this reminds me of in science fiction movies with aliens, being or an alien type thing that just every possible moment can just reach with its tentacles that are filled with thorns, reach to you and just stab you in the eye. And so that's why this one is on the list. I have this one for a long time. You can see I chopped him up because he was so big and he got too big for the pot, and I really liked him in this pot. And so I just chopped the whole plant off, and at the time this was this small. So this one was really a little shoot, and then this one grew into this tentacle-like cactus. I've got this one at the end of 2018. And so that's a long time. That's almost 5 years. For me, that's a long time because at the summer of 2018, my plant journey began. So this is almost as old as my plant journey. Okay, we're almost there. I have 2 plants left. One is a Hoya as well, and it is my Hoya Callistophylla. This is she. I recently had made a video where I showed plants that I fallen out of love with. I forgot to add this one onto the list. For a year now, I just kind of forget that I have him. The only reason why I water it is because it's on a shelf and there are 3 pots on the shelf, and when I water it I will see them from above, so I won't necessarily see the plant that much. I would only see the pots, and so maybe, as you can imagine, if you just see this, you know, okay, that's a plant, I have to water that, but you don't necessarily see or notice the plant itself. And so for a year now, I kind of forget that I have this species. But if you look closer to the pattern on the leaves, I think this one is kind of creepy. It looks like a living leaf, like those insects. I really like those, and I really like this plant when he had like maybe 5 leaves or something. But he is bigger now, and he doesn't really fit anymore with my collection, like the look of it, because almost all of my Hoyas are like really dark green without this types of veining, more other types of veining, or like very darkish, almost red or black, or silvery blue. And the pattern on the leaves, it's cool just to look at, but it doesn't really fit like my collection anymore. And so in my mind I kind of forget I have him. But yeah, this is one on the list because of his creepiness. Because in nature, when you have the living leaves, like the insects, you at first don't notice that they're living, and that's the whole point. But you know, it's creepy when you just see it and out of nowhere it starts moving, or don't anticipate on it and then out of nowhere it's moving. And I like insects to watch, but some other people don't like insects, and so it can be very scary, like in a very not ghostly, very human way. It can be scary, and so this one is also on the list. And the last one on my spooky list is the Irisine herbstiae, also known as Herbst's bloodleaf. And maybe, as you can hear in the title, it says blood leaf. And so I think you can guess why it is on my list. And it is this one. He doesn't fit fully in the frame, so I will like do this so you can see him fully. It is this plant, and as you may notice, I do not have a lot of colorful plants in my collection. I had them in my first year, like the pink syngoniums. I had the calatheas, which are purple a lot of the time. I had some begonias. I think the only like kind of colored plant I have is the philodendron atabapoense, and that's only the back. So you may be wondering, why do I have this? Is it one of my favorite plants? Well, not really, but it has a very strong meaning, and that is when we moved to this apartment, our neighbors were very, very kind and welcoming. And from time to time, we had planned like dinners and stuff with our neighbors. And the last time we were there, she just said, I have one plant and he's getting out of hand. He is growing a lot and I have so many like cuttings and I don't know what to do with it. So if you like, do you want one? And she was very excited about this plant. And she just came and showed it to me and was so excited. And I saw it and I was immediately in my head, I was like, oh, where do I put this in my house? Because we don't have a lot of color in our plants, so it would not really fit in the color palette of our house, because the bedroom is very greenish and light with natural wooden tones, like light wooden tones. The living room is more bluish green with a lot of heavier, darker wooden tones. And then the study room is like the more bluish plants with a lot of boho like decor, but the plants themselves are like more bluish, grayish, dark green. So it's hard to put this one somewhere because immediately it would be the focal point. It wasn't in this spot. I put it in this spot. It is like a little bit rude to not accept it. And also, I know as someone who loves plants what the enthusiasm feels like. So I wanted to be enthusiastic for her because she was so enthusiastic. I brought this one at home and I was like, where do I put this? And so she said to not put it in the sun. However, the only place that it could fit, like the colors and also like the how large he is and he's getting, would be the kitchen. Where in the summer, and I got this one at the end of summer, so the sun was shining a lot still. I put it there. I potted it up in this one because I thought this is kind of a blue but with a purple undertone to it. And a lot of blue, what we have in our living room, is with a greenish undertone. So I never used this pot because of it. But I had it and I thought this is perfect because this is like pink purple and this is bluish with a purple undertone, so it fits perfectly. And so this one is standing now in the kitchen. I think he's just also fine with the sun. The leaves are only a little bit bleached because of it, but he survives, so it's fine. But yeah, this one is now, I wouldn't say one of my favorites, but this one got so much meaning for me that I still really like it just because of its meaning. If you see him up close, I don't know if the color is translating, but you can see how the veins on the leaves are popping out because it's almost like neon. And so I think that's why it's called blood leaf, because the neon veins on the leaves are looking like blood veins almost. And the darker parts are like dark purple, but almost, if you look it from afar, it's almost like the color of dried blood. So I do understand why they call it blood leaf. So these were my spooky favorites. I hope you have a nice Halloween. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe and the like button. And I will see you in the next video. Doei!